All right, we are starting. So this morning I'm kind of challenging myself as well this season to do a different drawing every single day to create a new habit. So as for me, like I'm in my art practice, I've been an artist for a while. I've developed like this habitual like practice of like drawing every day, and I've built it up like over a long period of time. And it's like, to me, whenever I make art, it triggers like a happy part of my brain, and it genuinely like makes my day better and it makes me happier. And it's like, I know that when I make art, it makes me happier. And so therefore I want to do it. And then the cycle like continues. It's like a loop. It's like a habit loop. And I also wanted to show you guys, like that this is like a thing. This is a thing in psychology of like knowing how to create a habit. And it's, hang on one second. We're having lots of technical difficulties today, apparently. Here it is. So this is a thing in psychology. There's a book. Okay, also ignore the loud noises. My husband's working out in the basement, so sorry about that. If you hear noises, just ignore it. So there's a book called like The Power of a Habit, and habits can literally make or break your life altogether, right? So this is why I always like to talk about the ancient Greek philosophy of discipline, sophrosine, which is like discernment, moderation, self-control. That's a whole philosophy that I love teaching about. And when we're inside of the membership, we're going to be having separate talks and conversations and like group discussions just about the philosophies and just about like how to implement these philosophies and make them make sense in your life. So I kind of wanted to give you guys a little taste of that in today's lesson and kind of show you how we can implement these Greek philosophies, these ancient philosophies from way back when, and implement them into our life today. So, and obviously there's lots of modern day research that backs up this habit loop cycle. But for us, and for making art and creating a life that we really love, and like making our everyday like the best day, and like doing everything that we want to do, it's like creating a habit loop cycle. So a routine is created. So we're trying to develop like our own artistic routines as an artist. Like our routine is something that you do habitually. It's something that you don't have to think about. You just like do it. And like when you wake up in the morning, like you just automatically like go to the bathroom, go brush your teeth, go make the coffee, go, like my routine is like I automatically make the coffee, put away the dishes from the night before, go do the laundry. I throw in a load of laundry like almost every morning. And then it's like, and then I like sit down, I read the Bible, I read other things, I read, and then I journal. I do the 5, like I write in my journal. And so it's like I have these like things like set up in place, and it's like I don't have to think about it. I don't have to like be like, what am I doing today? Like, and just be like la la la, like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I have like these certain like routines and cues set up, and what cues me to do it is like I see it visually. So in the morning I visually like see the books. Like I purposely leave my books, my stack of books, because I have like a stack. It's like my journal, Bible, and like this other book that I'm reading, and I literally don't put them away. I leave them on the couch, like in a pile, and it's like my cue. I'm like, okay, like I'm still like, I'm in lazy mode in the morning. I don't want to do a lot, but I still want to like absorb some wisdom and knowledge. So like, and like write and journal. So like I'll leave that stack on the side, and it's like my visual cue. So that's the cue. And it's like the reward is that you get that boost of knowledge. You feel like you've had a release with the writing, and it's like it feels good. So same thing with art. This basically talks about like how when the smoker like sees the Marlboro Red pack, they instantly get that cue of like, ooh, I'm gonna get that good feeling of nicotine. And then like the reward is like smoking it and feeling the nicotine, right? So that's just kind of what this little blurb is saying. So that just goes to show that like cues and routines and rewards can either be your uprising and your level up, or it could be like your vice or your downfall. So it's like your life consists of what you do and how you do them. And so routines and creating great routines that you love is what's going to create a life that you love in the long run. So by doing the things that you love every single day, you're creating that routine and you're creating eudaimonia, like eventually. So eudaimonia is, again, like good spirit, happiness, like true genuine joy in your heart, like knowing that you are doing things every single day to create purpose and meaning in your life. And you know that like by you doing this thing, it's going to bring purpose, meaning into the lives of others as well. So it's like, it's really, really special to create a artistic practice that you truly love based off of these cues and routines. So in your life, I want to challenge you to give yourself that visual cue. And I know a lot of you have said in the group chat, like, hey, I don't have time to make art every day. And it's like, no kidding, like you're running around, you're doing all these things, and it's like you don't make time for it, and you don't have the routine, and you don't have like the routine and the cue set up to get you to do that thing. So what we need to do is actually just instill this routine into your daily life. And it takes practice, it takes time, and it takes that cue and reward kind of system in your brain for you to actually stay consistent with it and actually keep doing it every single day. Just like you brush your teeth, I want you guys to be drawing in your sketchbook. And it might seem like, ooh, like, why do I need to draw in my sketchbook every day? Like, sounds like a lot. And like, I remember like when I was first starting art school and my professor told me to do this, I was like, this guy's wacko. I was like, he's crazy. I was like, I do not need to draw every day. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, why would I do this? And I was like, I thought that it was just like insanity to draw every day. But the reality is, and he's wiser and older, and like obviously he's been a professional artist and professional professor at the university for many years, and he obviously knows what he's doing, because he made us every single day. There was 100-day drawing practice. It wasn't 21 days, it was 100 days. 100 days of 100 drawings, and it was an assignment that we had to turn in. And so I was very motivated to do this assignment because I saw the value in it, and honestly, I wanted to be a good student, and I always did my homework because I love to do, I don't know, I always did my homework, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to draw every day for 100 days. And he even said it. He's like, if one day your drawing takes you 1 minute, that's great. That's beautiful. If one day your drawing takes you 5 minutes, that's a beautiful thing too. If one day it takes you 10 minutes, that's great. If one day you spiral and start to make art for 30 minutes or 40 minutes or an hour, that's great too. So there wasn't a lot of pressure to spend a lot of time on this. It was more about the cue and reward. Like you're cueing yourself, it's time to draw, and then you're rewarding yourself with the gratification and the happiness and the calm and peaceful feeling that you feel when you're done drawing. So it's like drawing makes you feel happy, it makes your heart happy, it like makes you feel more relaxed, it makes you feel more calm. And it's like this practice, it's like a positive cycle. And when you repeat it, it like becomes easier and easier every single day. So like, for example, when I was doing this 100-day project, I started out being like, what do I draw? I was like, what am I drawing? Like, what? We could draw anything. He said we could draw literally anything. It doesn't have to be anything. It just has to be like lines on a paper. And I was like, okay, great. Like, that's so vague. And like, literally, our professors do this on purpose. And I'm going to do it on purpose for you guys because it's meant to be vague, because it's meant to be like, you can do literally whatever you want, because it's like you should follow your creative heart and whatever your hands want to do that day, and just trust yourself and do whatever you want. And it is kind of liberating to like not have a prompt sometimes. So I encourage you guys to, even if it's just like drawing circles on and then filling up a little piece of a post-it note with circles, like even if your little post-it note is like this little, and you just sit quietly and you fill it with circles, like you're gonna start to notice little patterns. Like the more you sit in silence with your ink and with your pen. And the other thing is too, like the more you pay attention and the more you like enjoy the process of drawing, the more addicting it gets. So you're not just like mindlessly drawing circles, you're actually focusing on the material, on the pen that you're using, on the surface that you're drawing on. It's not just a pen and a post-it note. It's like a little colorful piece of like thin-ish paper, you know, that's smooth. And it's like this pen. And you're really focusing your eyes and your attention completely on this task. And you're not like thinking about anything else. You're not worried about anything else. You're just allowing your pen to focus on the paper and allowing it to like really get concentrated, and you're putting your whole mind and heart into what you're doing. In your head you're like thinking like, start the circle and the circle, start the circle and the circle. And it's just like this relaxing, like cathartic process, and you really start to like enjoy it and feel like a sense of peace and relaxation from doing this over and over and over again. And it really just becomes like such a like a happy moment in your day that you become addicted to it without even kind of realizing it. And then whenever you see the post-it note stack on your desk, or you see this pen, like this pen is a huge trigger for me in the best way. In the best way. Like literally, it triggers me to be, it reminds me to pick it up, and it reminds me to open it, and it reminds me to go to a piece of paper and to just start, and to just start drawing, to just start. So you can do this, okay? You can do this, or another idea is every day to look at a photo in your camera roll and to zoom in and try to draw that photo. So my 100-day drawing challenge in college, I zoomed in on, you guessed it, a photo of not water. It was actually a photograph of that was a different one. It was a photograph of the cliffside of my grandmother's, like there was a cliff in my grandma's village in Greece, and I photographed the cliffside, and there was like a monastery built on the cliff, and it was a really special, very like spiritual moment in my life. It was a very like there was, we all went to this special place on a special feast day, and it was like a very emotional moment in my life. And so I used that photograph because of the memory and the emotion that was tied to that photograph. I felt and on it, and obviously like I didn't realize why I picked that photo until like much later on, but now I realize like, hey, I picked that photo because that story and that memory was so strong when I took that photo. And I came back to it later and was like, I want to draw this over and over and over again. And so that's what I did. I would just look at different parts of that same photo, and I would draw it in different ways over and over and over again. And this is kind of how I started creating artwork, with this sort of like line art kind of stuff. But also like this accumulated from just, it started by doodles. Like the doodles kind of prepared me to be able to do stuff like that, if that makes sense. So your doodles, even though they seem silly or they seem mindless or they seem kind of mundane or just kind of like loosey-goosey, you're building up your muscle memory and you're building up your skills to eventually prepare yourself to draw from your photos, to draw from your experiences, to draw from your memories, to draw from your camera roll, and to abstract and pull out that feeling of your work and create meaningful work. So this morning, to kind of like go full circle, and then we're gonna jump on our Q&A. But this morning I was like, you know what, like I haven't done this drawing exercise in a long time. I am kind of rusty, like you guys know, I've just been painting like my big paintings, and like I haven't been really pushing myself artistically lately, because it's like now I kind of am in a routine, and like I know what I'm doing, and I'm kind of just like doing the same thing every day, and it's like lovely, and I love doing the same thing every day because I don't have to think about it and I could get lost in it, which is really nice. But you know, it's like always I'm always learning, I'm always growing, and I always want to be challenging myself too as I'm challenging you guys. So I went through my camera roll this morning, and I went through photos that I took while I was in Greece, and I found this photo. It was like it was a white church, and I wanted to paint it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do like a quick little like study and study the image. And so I looked at the image and I was like, okay, this looks complicated, but I'm gonna break it up into simple shapes. And we have a little video that we did this together with, but like if you notice, this is a triangle. And I always think about like the angles of the triangle and geometry. And it's like, this is an acute angle. This is an acute angle. This is like a right angle. This is a right triangle, right? So I looked at that triangle and I started there, and I was like, okay, that's light. And then I was like, okay, there's a little rectangle here that kind of does this sort of thing, and it's that way. And then I drew to here, and I was like, okay. And then what's nice about paint is like you can also make corrections as you go. So I was looking at the photo, at the shapes, and then looking to try and replicate it. And mind you, I think this is like obviously this is not like the best work of art in the world, you know, but it also does represent the church pretty well. And it's not like perfect, but I'm honestly kind of proud of it because I think the values kind of like show the shadows and the dimension of the building. And for being a loose study, it honestly only took me like 5 or 10 minutes. Um, but you know, in the past I've drawn like other churches before, and I've taken like hours to do them. So I feel like that kind of also maybe prepared me to do this kind of. But my new goal for this next few weeks is to choose one photo from my camera roll and to draw it or paint it in a fun way. And honestly, just like having fun with it, not being like overly perfectionist about it, but just like kind of pushing myself and getting outside my comfort zone. It's always a good way to grow and to learn. Even if you're wanting to do something more like representational or more figurative, like this is more representational. We're representing like a physical building versus like my abstractions of the water. So it's a little bit different, but honestly, it's like it's healthy to always like expand your art practice and just see like what happens, see where it takes you. Explore your curiosities always. If you're feeling called to like try to paint something you've never painted before, I encourage you to really just try it. Like, who cares if it turns out ugly? Like, who cares if it turns out like kind of like stupid looking like a first grader did it? Who cares? Like, it's the point of trying. And like, who's to say that your first grader style artwork is bad? Like, I think it's beautiful. I think when you're creating, and even if it looks like a first grader did it, it's still valid, it's still beautiful, and it's still art, and it's like your way of learning. Okay, when you were first learning how to write letters, I bet you your letters were shaky. If you can envision yourself when you were just a little kid and you were first like in kindergarten trying to write your letter A or trying to write your name for the very first time, it was probably really frustrating, and you probably like didn't even know what letters to use to write your name. So just kind of put yourself back into that sort of time frame, into that body of your little child, and just be patient with yourself and be kind to yourself, and like hold your own hand through the process, and just like acknowledge that you're learning, and like have fun with the process, and just make bad art. It's okay. Like, obviously, like this isn't like 100% realistic. I don't think I would ever like sell this or show this, but like it's just for me. Like, it's honestly just for me, and it's the fun of creating, right? I don't know what the heck this was, but I was looking at a different photograph and I was just kind of mapping out the composition. There was like rock here and like rock here. So I'm kind of just like, I want to play around a little bit more, using like different compositions, incorporating like rocks in between the water. So that's like the next kind of thing I want to start exploring a little bit more is like rocks and then the water within. So I'm kind of just gonna keep playing with different compositions and try new things. And I have lots of new photos that I'm gonna be working with this year, which I want to show you guys how I'm planning for my year. But I also don't want to overwhelm you guys because I feel like I'm a little like, I don't know, a little much sometimes. So I don't want to overwhelm you with like how I'm planning. I don't want to make you feel like you need to be planning like I am because I feel like that's a little advanced for you guys right now at this point in time, but I'll show you anyways, if you guys are curious. But anyways, I think we'll kind of wrap it up right now and leave it at that. And if you guys have any questions, always in the group chat, you're welcome to message me and we'll chat, share what you're working on because we love to see it and we like to critique you guys. Also like in the group chat, please feel free to also give your input and feedback and critique to other people. So I don't want to be the only one critiquing. I want you guys to also be critiquing. So if you see something that could use a little more love or could use a little bit more attention, or maybe like you would suggest, maybe they could try this or try something else or try this idea. You could just give suggestions. It's not meant to be rude. It's just to kind of help push. It's meant to push each other and to make each other better artists. So it's great to say, oh my God, that's so great, like every single time, but I think it's even more beneficial when we are critiquing each other and giving each other like positive feedback. So I encourage it, try to stay active in there. I think it's been so fun since like all these other people came in. I think it's so fun to like chat it up. So that's been cool. We're gonna hopefully get more people in, but yeah, I'm excited for next year already. I'm like very excited for next year. And all these videos are gonna be available to you guys in the membership portal. So once you become a member in the membership, all these videos are gonna be available to you guys like at all times. I'll have the lessons like in order, and then we're gonna be building on each lesson each week. So it's gonna be like super intense, kind of like each lesson like going through a little more in depth, getting you guys to a point where you can eventually create your own visual language and training to get to the point where you're making art that you're really proud of and that has a meaning and tells your story. So okay, I think we'll leave it at that because this stuff downstairs is kind of driving me crazy. So we'll meet in the next room. Okay, bye guys.